Okay, part 3. This is the real meat of it. Here's where it really drives into a higher gear. May 29th, 2013. Robin has secured a restraining order from fellow officer of the court and newly elected Judge Elizabeth Johnson over a slap to my son's face, in which there is no injury, where the officer wrote the report. You can see the report. The officer describes seeing no injury. No injury, where witness Savannah claims I was not mad and that the slap was not hard. Robin told me years ago that she did child support case work for many of Elizabeth Johnson's female employees when Ms. Johnson was owner of Johnson's Steakhouse, now defunct, and she still owes the county money on it. This is a scammer. I am served with the order and removed from my daughter's preschool graduation by detectives Jeremy Amon and Brian Ward. Hello, see you again. Nice to see you again. They took me out of the graduation ceremony, and that's on videotape. It's excruciating to watch. This is on videotape. June 4th, a couple days later, friend Mark Madison observes my report of this event on Facebook and summons me to his home, where I spend 5 hours with he and his wife Emily, Liz Johnson's sister. I am told that Liz confessed to Al Wilkins, Liz and Emily's father, who lives next to Emily and Mark, that Miss Johnson felt bullied by Robin into signing the restraining order. June 5th, I hire Cynthia Angel to represent me. She tells me that she's only worked with Robin a few times and observes no conflict of interest. June 6th. According to Shasta County CPS staff Nicole Bradford, quote, Robin McStay came to a scheduled meeting at the department. Present were myself, CWS attorney redacted, and CWS supervisor redacted. Robin had a litany of complaints about the department and handling of past referrals that were evaluated out with no further action due to not meeting criteria. She was obviously upset and very confrontational and aggressive throughout the meeting. That's an official document, official report from CPS in Shasta County, who Shasta County investigated the claims of abuse because Trinity County CPS was conflicted with Robin, because Robin does work for CPS in Trinity County, or did. June 17th, our first hearing. We have always had a visiting judge, as Robin is the county's sole child support attorney for the county for 10 years. She is also department head, director of child support services. Judge Johnson presides and orders therapeutic visits with the kids. She also orders mediation in Shasta County. Robin informs the court that there are ongoing investigations with CPS, with Shasta CPS and Trinity County Sheriff. Judge Johnson continues the restraining order on this basis, citing, "Let's be safe." June 18, next day. I meet with retired Judge Anthony Edwards, former husband to Cynthia Angel, to discuss his views of the warrant for the TRO, and he declares it outrageous that Liz did not recuse from this case from the very beginning. I also show him the 8-minute videotape from 2008 of Robin stating her mother will lie in court to say that I molest my son. This tape also describes Robin's mother's execution of blackmail of Robin's father to get him to sign away his parental rights. Robin states on video that this will now be applied to me. June 19th, next day. I meet with County Counsel David Prentice and CAO Wendy Tyler and offer them the view of this videotape. I discuss facts surrounding our vitriolic divorce since 2009, when Robin tried and failed to have me arrested then, and the subsequent actions through courts in the years following to take my children from me. June 25. I meet with Detective Brian Ward for a videotaped interview regarding allegations of abuse to my children. I offer him 4 selections of videotape, including the ones I have described here, and those are available for you to see on YouTube. July 11th, here we go. Shasta County CPS caseworker Karina Pearson calls me to inform me that the allegations of physical abuse against Jackson are unfounded, and that secondary allegations of sexual abuse against Savannah are also unfounded. Shasta CPS investigated when Trinity County CPS recused themselves over an observed conflict of interest with Robin. I do not know the precise date or who made that decision. July 12th. The very next day, I meet with Cynthia Angel to offer her 15 letters of testimony from mine and my children's community that overwhelmingly state that I am an exemplary father. This is also the date that Cynthia makes a report to Marshal Dan Diaz that I threatened physical harm to Judge Johnson and to Cynthia on or about July 2nd. Cynthia's bill that she finally sent in December 2013 after many requests also reveals that she met with Robin that day, and that the last time we met in her office was not July 2nd but June 22nd. July 15. Cynthia tells me just before our hearing that she must step down as my attorney, as there is a rumor around the courthouse that I may be charged with a crime related to putting these videos on YouTube. She may be charged as well. In hearing, Judge Johnson appoints Cindy Campbell to represent the children and then recuses. Cynthia tells the court that Mr. McStay would like to address the court and would therefore like to represent himself from here on. After hearing, I call the district attorney's office and speak with Mike Harper, who tells me he has heard a rumor that I made threats to him. July 17. I am served with a Liz Pendens filed by Robin prohibiting me from encumbering or selling community property. July 19. I am arrested outside my home. This is a Friday, and booked into county jail. I am charged with California Penal Code Sections 76A and 442A. My case number is 13F127. DA case number is 13DA326. It is alleged by Cynthia Angel that I threatened serious bodily harm to or the life of both Cynthia and Judge Elizabeth Johnson. I spent 5 hours in a holding cell before being bailed out by Weaverville bail bondsman Tom Dorpinghouse, who later offers me a fax he received from Robin before he was even called, citing the Liz Pendens and claiming I do not have enough equity in the property to cover the bail amount. The fax is dated July 17. It's likely this fax went out to all local bail bonds agencies. July 26. Hearing with Judge Richard Schuler. Cindy Campbell, though ordered to appear, is a no-show. She makes no arrangements for someone to stand in for her. Restraining order therefore continues. I offer that my prior attorney, Cynthia Angel, had offered 4 separate therapists, all of whom Robin rejected because therapeutic visitation were ordered, but I still haven't seen my kids, so I want to get visitation underway. Cynthia Angel had offered 4 separate therapists, all of whom Robin rejected. Judge Schuler states that Robin does not have the right of refusal. Robin complains about who she thinks I will choose, and Judge Schuler tells her, "Ma'am," this is funny, "Ma'am, she could be Attila the Hun. You don't have to like her. If Mr. McStay can pay for and arrange a qualified therapist, he can choose anyone he likes." He admonishes her several times, saying, "Ma'am, I can see you're angry, but if you don't get that anger under control, it will hurt you in the long run." Our next court date is scheduled for September 16th. We'll see about that, right? July 27th. Robin writes to Cindy Campbell that she has arranged therapeutic visits between me and my children with MFT Dennis Harmon. I do not know this person. She sends me a copy of her letter. This is further blatant contempt for the will and stated order of the court. Right? Robin, right after hearing, decides that she's going to decide what therapist she's going to choose, and she sends a letter to Cindy Campbell saying she's already arranged it. July 31. Despite Robin's attempt to usurp my court-ordered right, I have arranged visits with MFT therapist Scott Lafine. We know Scott. And these begin today. After more than 9 full weeks of separation, I can hug my children and see their faces. 9 weeks. I didn't see them. August 2nd. I meet with Trinity County Family Law Facilitator Scott Lyon to help me with my case. August 4. I run into former Sheriff Laura Craig at Tops Market, who tells me that he heard from Cynthia Angel that Robin threatened Cynthia with a lawsuit for advising me to put videos on YouTube. We're going to learn a lot about that. August 9th. I meet with Dave Cox for a 90-minute tape-recorded interview, bringing Jill Chipman as a witness, who describes that Robin never paid her bill for 10 hours of mediation Jill did in 2010. We learned about that. That Robin told Jill that she is the worst thing that ever happened to her family, that Robin will steer away clients from Jill, and that Robin told Jill in 2010 that I have the power to make allegations of sexual abuse against me during this mediation 2 years ago, and that Robin could get her mother to say anything Robin wanted her to say. Jill also corroborates Sheriff Craig that she heard directly from Cynthia that Robin threatened Cynthia with a lawsuit. I also request from Dave Cox is the DA's, Trinity County DA, the DA's investigator, law enforcement for a bunch of years, and then he became the investigator for the DA's office. I also request from Dave that my arraignment on these felony charges be postponed so that I can continue to cooperate directly with the DA's office. If I am appointed a public defender, it would likely be Derek Risk, who has represented Robin in the past and has an observed friendship with retired Judge Anthony Edwards, former husband to Cynthia Angel. It's a bunch of incestuous relationships up there in that isolated mountain town. August 14th. I meet with court-ordered Shasta County mediator Ruth Becky Andrews, who spends not more than 20 minutes with me. She tells me that because of these felony allegations, her hands are tied and she will recommend that the TRO continue. August 21. Eric Hereford, the assistant DA at the time, now judge. Eric Hereford requests that my arraignment be delayed until September 18th. I concur to Judge Schuler that this is prudent for my case. Judge Schuler's like, hold on a second, Mr. McStay, you know you have a right to trial. You have a right to proceed. And I said, look, I'm trying to work with the DA on this case to get these charges dismissed. I'm totally fine with the postponement of arraignment. August 22nd. Ruth Andrews writes her recommendation to the court, since the felony charges persist, that the TRO be made permanent. September 5. Robin violates the court order by refusing to bring Jackson to court-appointed supervised visitation with Scott Lafine. And that's going to happen again and again and again. September 9. In a phone call to cancel our next meeting and all future meetings, Trinity County's family law facilitator Scott Lyon tells me that he cannot work with me because of a conflict of interest with Robin, with whom he works in some other manner. September 12th, Robin violates the court order, refusing to bring Jackson. September 16th, new judge, Gerald Sevier. He grants Robin's request for a summary divorce. The minutes later reflect that there was no objection. In parentheses, I write, I tend not to interrupt, nor do I know court protocols. But if I had been asked if I objected, I would have said yes. We don't qualify for a summary divorce by any stretch of imagination. He considers Robin's other request to sell the 80-acre parcel that I have leased for 3 years as a means to make a living and to care for my children full time. He orders for the property to be appraised by a realtor, and that the realtor may request to have a code enforcement officer accompany him to the property, but orders that neither Robin nor myself may attend this appraisal. He also accepts Ruth Andrews' recommendations in full, and the restraining order is made permanent. He orders psych evals to be done through Dr. Reed McKellar. Cindy Campbell attends this hearing and is in full agreement with Andrews' recommendations. September 17, next day. I call Dr. McKellar to schedule a psych eval. His answering machine says he will return calls in 2 business days. Liar. September 18th, Judge Gerald Sevier presides over my arraignment. Robin attends and sits front row. Eric Hereford, Assistant DA, dismisses the charges, and Robin storms out of the courtroom in clear and demonstrative tantrum. And then at the arraignment, Eric Hereford cites that the reason for among the reasons for dismissal of the charges is that the main witness for him has refused all cooperation with the DA's office. Cynthia Angel made the report that she made falsely accusing me of physical harm to her and the judge, and then she backed out and refused any and all further cooperation with the judge or with the DA. Why would you do that? September 17th, okay, September 18th, okay, that was the arraignment. September 20th, I make a report. The Deputy Will Oliver at Trinity County Sheriff's Office that Cynthia Angel made false allegations to law enforcement, but failed to offer evidence. He says my case is thin, that the DAs are not likely to proceed because they lack spine and political will and honor and virtue, anything admirable. I tell Deputy Oliver that I was advised by Dave Cox that the Sheriff's Office is where I need to start, as the DAs have the evidence they need to make charges. He politely takes my statement. He was polite. September 26th, Dr. McKellar finally calls back and says he may not be able to schedule Robin and I for psych evals. He describes that the process includes examining collateral evidence, such as court filings, calls to children's teachers, and examination of video evidence that I described to him. He reports that, if what I am saying is true, Robin may be guilty of alienation of affection. Hello. October 1. Realtor Don Coffin calls me in the afternoon to state that he and Sheriff Haney went out to the parcel with Robin to appraise it. Though Robin was court ordered not to attend, she did, in blatant contempt. October 2, Dr. Reed McKellar emails me to say that he cannot perform the psych evals. He recommends Ray Carlson, whom is contracted with CPS, Trinity County CPS. Robin also does work for Trinity CPS, which is why they initially recused from investigation of abuse allegations and why this was done by Shasta CPS. Robin and I email about whom to choose, as I have found a clinical psychologist, Dr. Marilyn Woolley, who can schedule us as soon as the following week. Since these were not put on any deadline, Robin has no incentive to submit to these, and emails me that she will only work with Ray. October 3, Robin violates the court order, refusing to bring Jackson to visitation. October 10, Robin violates the court order, refusing to bring Jackson to visitation. October 11, I submit a request to the court for a change in the TRO, since allegations of abuse are long unfounded and felony charges have been dismissed. The court does not file stamp it. I also request that the judge assign another evaluator, as Dr. McKellar is clear that he cannot schedule us. I also request that these be put on a deadline. The clerk tells me that she will relay my request to the judge via email. October 15, Given Robin's consistency with violating court order visitation, I ask for a civil standby at Scott LaFine's office. Deputy Moore oversees and asks me if I would like to press charges against Robin for violating the court order. Of course I do. But where does it go? It goes nowhere. October 21, Superior Court Clerk Michelle Hubbard tells me that Judge Sevier is no longer on our case, and she's trying to get Judge Murray, whom we'll come to know and abhor. October 25, I received notice from Judge Murray that my request for order is denied because I characterize the order as temporary when it is not. October 28, I file another motion with the court and am given a hearing on November 21. On the same day, Robin files a motion and is given a hearing with Judge Murray on November 19. October 31st, Halloween. Robin brings the kids to Scott LaFine's. She does not drop them off and leave, but stays and rages at me in front of the children, then takes Jackson with her home. November 4th, District Attorney Mike Harper calls me on the phone and tells me that his office is rejecting prosecution of child endangerment allegations made against me by Robin in May. I'm going to cut it there, stop, do chapter 4 coming up. Bye.